Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon. Guys and girls, I'm a retired New York City police detective with 20 plus years of law enforcement. If you like all things true crime related from the police perspective, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you'll get all things DutyRon when I go live or upload another video. Today we're going to talk about Summer Wells, the missing little girl from the Beach Creek community from June of 2021. We're coming up on almost a year. In 2 months, we'll be at a year. No answers. We're no closer to finding out what happened to Summer Wells from the beginning as we are right here, current day. Guys, before we get into it, I want to say a special thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, and all the folks who positively engage in this great community. Crime Time with DutyRon is comprised of respectful people who support the work that we do and support bringing the missing home, support great groups like EquuSearch Midwest without any jagaloonism. There's no jagaloonism here on Crime Time with DutyRon. So thank you to everyone who supports, all of the moderators and all the folks who watch the replays. You guys are what makes this a great place. And I thank you. I thank you tremendously from the bottom of my heart. So what I wanted to speak to you about today, and before we get into it, I want to just say hi to everybody chiming in. Nikki, Heidi, Jen Lowe, the mods are here. Nat Estelle, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Alicia B, always great to see you. And for those of you who are on the members only live stream, Dave Rader and Twyla Cisco. Dave Rader is the EquuSearch Midwest director, and Twyla is the search coordinator. They were on earlier, just maybe an hour ago, on the members only live stream, and we spoke about this case and many others. But we did speak about Summer Wells, and we got some. We have some answers to the question in the title. The title says, "Will EquuSearch and other groups come back to Beach Creek to search?" And we'll get into that in a moment. But again, I want to say hi to everybody chiming in, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys being here. Nikki Bella, Jen Lowe again, Ed Wallace, Jane, Trucker Steve. Trucker Steve, we highlighted you on the members only. We showed the video again of the birthday wishes to me. Lieutenant Pete Pranzo and his beautiful wife, Richella. They stole the show. Thank you so much, Pete and Richella. Jane, good to see you from the UK. Thank you for joining. All right, so here the question is, with all the buffoonery and all of the craziness that's gone on YouTube, on Facebook, and on all the social media platforms about Summer Wells, people have been sending in questions and concerns to Crime Time with DutyRon, and these are valid questions and concerns, right, folks? People are asking, has law enforcement, has the search groups given up on little Summer Wells? And that's a question that's valid. That's a question that people want to know. Like, because of all of this nonsense that's going on, have they just been discouraged from continuing to search for this little girl? And my answer to that is no. There's no way that the law enforcement counterparts, the TBI, the FBI, the Hawkins County Sheriff, you can mother them all you want. You can mother F them up and down until the end of the day, until the end of time. I know this to be true, is that behind the scenes, they're not going to stop searching, electronic evidence, searching and looking for Summer Wells. And they state that every time that they speak, they state it. I believe it because I know I did that job for over 2 decades. And I know that law enforcement is not giving up. They might show not a lot on the surface, but I know for a fact that they're not going to give up on it. By a show of hands, who in the chat here agrees with me? Let me know by placing a 1 in the chat. If you agree, if you disagree, it's okay. You could disagree because there's a lot of naysayers. There's a lot of people out there that feel that law enforcement has given up on Summer Wells. And I say this, I ask a question to all of the folks who feel that way. Do you think that if Summer Wells was, again, was out there and missing, that any law enforcement professional, man or woman, search and rescue squads like Dave Rader, Twyla Cisco, do you think that they would really turn their backs on this little girl? I say to you unequivocally, 100% wholeheartedly, that is a falsehood. And if you want to believe the YouTube streets and the online toxic community that's full of jagaloons, if you want to believe jagaloons over the good in law enforcement, then you can go ahead and have at it. But you know what? I say this to you. That's a ridiculous thing to even think of. It's a ridiculous thing to say. And at the end of the day, I know that the search will never stop for Summer Wells. And we saw this in Sincere and Classic in California City and Bakersfield. There was a ton of people who felt the same exact way about the California City Police Department. They felt the same way about the Bakersfield, California Police Department. They felt the same way in a lot of these different cases because they didn't see anything happening. But guess what? Behind the scenes, night and day and night, they're fielding new pieces of evidence, fielding new phone calls. And listen, when you're calling in phone calls of visions that you're seeing in your head and dreams that you had, they're going to follow up on stuff like that and they're going to look into it. But you're wasting their time. Don't do that. Please, I beg of you. Think of this little girl, and I'm going to play this clip. Think of Summer Wells when you send police on wild goose chases. Listen, I love animals. I love animals of all kinds. It doesn't matter if it's a dog, cat, bird. I have a bird, a dog. I had a cat when I was growing up. I love every animal. And, you know, animals that are out and that are stray, feral cats and stray dogs, my heart breaks for them. I remember when I was on my honeymoon 30 some odd years ago, we were in one of the islands. We went on a cruise for our honeymoon. We went to one of the islands and it was the Grand Cayman Islands. And there were so many dead dogs on the side of the road. We rented those scooters and drove around the island, you know, me and my wife, my new bride. And I saw so many dead dogs and that freaked me out. My heart broke for those dogs. But when we're talking about a missing little girl, where are the priorities? Where are the priorities for Candus and Don Wells? We know where they are. They don't give a flying shit that their daughter is missing. They haven't searched one day. They haven't taken a clipboard and passed out flyers. They haven't made 1 ounce of effort to search for their daughter. 1 ounce. I'll tell you what the efforts that they did put forward. The efforts they did put forward is getting on YouTube, getting drunk, getting high, and acting like complete and utter jackasses and jagaloons. And the people who facilitate them to do that are equally as vile. And that's what they do. And that's what they continue to do. That's what they do right up until this moment. Don is probably doing it from jail. But we know that Candus is on a campaign of drunken buffoonery. It's the best way I can describe it without being really nasty. Drunken buffoonery. And that's what we have from the parents of Summer Wells. I'm going to just play an older clip for you guys so you can see Detective John Pruitt. He is not, by the way, I feel he is not the lead investigator. TBI has the lead on Summer Wells, not John Pruitt. He is the local detective at the sheriff's department. I'm not discounting him, and I'm not saying that he's not good. What I'm saying is that the news is saying that he's the lead. She went missing from his jurisdiction, but the lead and all the forensics and all the stuff is being handled by TBI. And as you guys know, TBI they know their stuff. They know their stuff. Just look up some of the things that they did, and TBI knows their stuff. All right, let's play this. It's a little bit old, but I just want you guys to hear it. I think it's important that we play this, and I'm going to be right back with you guys.
Well, today, for the first time, we are learning the lead investigator in the Summer Wells case is speaking out. The pressure has been immense on the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office to figure out what happened to a little girl who reported missing back in June.
Ansley Daniel has been following this case closely. She has an update. Ansley?
Josh and Sarah, there was frustration, some anger, and the presence of a heavy burden when I sat down with the detective John Pruitt with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. He's led this investigation into Summer's disappearance. He told me that as difficult as this case is to work, he is nowhere near giving up.
It is a lot to shoulder, it's a lot to burden. We have a missing child that we haven't found yet.
Almost 10 months and so much heartache. And investigators aren't immune from that hurt. The question of what happened to Summer Wells still has no answer.
There haven't been very many cases like this. I have never worked a missing child case with all these different entities and agencies involved.
The lead investigator on the case says his days are devoted to finding her.
My day, I check tip line and voicemail when I first get here. I do phone calls and follow-ups on any credible leads I've got. I follow up on anything that I didn't get to a good conclusion the day before. Then I go into my normal caseload of any new cases I've got, follow-ups on them.
They've received nearly 2,000 tips.
I will follow up on everything I can to try to bring closure for this.
Self-proclaimed online investigators and social media sleuths have turned this case into a mess of ideas.
I'm going to play that back. And this is Ansley Daniel, local news reporter.
Investigators and social media sleuths
To try to bring closure for this.
Self-proclaimed online investigators and social media sleuths have turned this case into a mess of ideas. And tips have come in from everywhere across the U.S. and even...
Basically, she called them jagaloons. She called... I'm going to play it back one more time, just for the people in the back. This is a local reporter, and all the local folks who live there feel the same way. And Trevor Lee messages me on a regular basis, and his heart is broken over this and what's going on in that community with the buffoonery.
I will follow up on everything I can to try to bring closure for this.
Self-proclaimed online investigators and social media sleuths have turned this case into a mess of ideas. And tips have come in from everywhere across the U.S. and even overseas. That help, Pruitt says, has led to little more than time wasted.
If these people want to help so much, we always accept applications to certified individuals.
He says the investigation has led to the continued thought that if Summer is found, it will be nearby.
I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by, because we found nothing to lead us to believe that she's been abducted or trafficked out of the area.
Pruitt works alongside the TBI and FBI. Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators...
I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by, because we found nothing to lead us to believe that she's been abducted or trafficked out.
So we heard Dave Rader, the director, and Twyla Cisco, the search coordinator of EquuSearch Midwest. They've come on this channel and have said that Summer is close by. You just heard the detective say that there's no indicators that she was abducted or that she walked off from that property. And again, you know, I trust the people who do this type of work and this kind of investigations. And EquuSearch Midwest has searched for thousands of people missing. That's what they do. That's all they do. Okay. And you heard that the TBI and the FBI, those two branches of law enforcement, are the ones who are leading the charge into forensically finding out what happened to Summer Wells, because that's what this case is going to come down to. It's not going to be solved by Candus and Don telling us the truth. They're never going to tell the truth. Their truth is a lie within themselves. Their truth is the only thing they're true to is their addictions, their drugs and alcohol that they consume. And they show that every night, day and night. Every time that they're on a live stream, you could see what these people are made of. I don't care what anybody thinks. The bottom line is that is what they are. they're showing themselves and they're showing their true colors every single damn day that they come on live. I mean, Don is locked up now, but I can guarantee you when he comes out, he's going to be a ball of fire and ready to go. And he's going to be on all of these social media platforms. It's not going to stop.
Continued thought that if Summer is found, it will be nearby.
I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by, because we found nothing to lead us to believe that she's been abducted or trafficked out of the area.
Pruitt works alongside the TBI and FBI. Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data. Almost a year into the case, and Detective Pruitt says it still remains a very active investigation.
I'm not going to let it go cold.
Now, let me tell you, detectives do not say things like that just to say it. You know, detectives are not saying, I'm not going to let this go cold just to blow smoke up people's butts. That's not what we do. That's not what we do, folks. We take an oath and we go out there and we see our cases through right to the end. And that's what we do. Let me go back quickly to Lens of Grace. Sends in a $5 super chat. And Lens of Grace says, may I please ask, and thank you for being polite, why aren't Don and Candus arrested for child abuse, neglect, and endangerment when CPS removed their boys? This is baffling to me. But listen, it takes a lot more than just what we see on the surface to make a lawful arrest. When you place someone in handcuffs and put them in jail and put them in lockup, there's a big process that goes on. You know, you have to get an indictment. You got to go and take them to trial and get a conviction. And we see that it's a very precise process. So all of these things have to be in place for them to do this. And apparently they don't have all that in place to be able to do that, because if they did, they would be arrested. I hope that helps. And again, us looking from the outside in, we don't have access to the case file. We don't have all of the details of the inner workings of what goes on. We just see what, we could see that Candus Wells can't even take care of a stray animal. How is she supposed to take care of children? Don Wells is more concerned about putting drywall and doing his drywall repair than searching for his own daughter when he was not in jail. When he was out of jail, who remembers him saying and pleading and saying he can't afford to pay for the expensive red car, the Subaru, and saying that he has to go to work? Well, guess what? I would lose everything if my child was missing. I wouldn't work one day. I would search night and day until I had to be hospitalized for exhaustion if my son or my daughter went missing. But that's just me. You know, you can't say what I would do. It'd be what somebody else is doing, because we see that Candus and Don have searched for their daughter this much. Zero. Big fat donuts. They've done nothing. EquuSearch Midwest has been to the Beach Creek community 3 separate times that we could speak about. 3 separate times. Once in the beginning, when it was a full-blown 2-week search with hundreds and hundreds of law enforcement and volunteers from across the county and across the state, across the country. They came back for a research in July, I believe, of 2021, and then they went back and did drone searching with Detective Pruitt. And Gene from Texas flew into the Beach Creek from Texas to Tennessee. Twyla was there, Dave was there, and Chris Starnes was there. So 3 separate trips by EquuSearch. And I posed a question, and I'll have Dave Rader and Twyla Cisco on Tuesday night, this Tuesday coming up, the 26th of April at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern. I will have Texas Midwest EquuSearch, Dave Rader, and Twyla Cisco, along with Rocky Pastorino and Rayanne Carley, Cassie Carley's sister, to talk about the importance of searching the right way for missing people, and how important that is to have organized and educated searchers, people who know what to do to search for the missing. So we're going to have a complete conversation with them. But I can tell you this. The answer to whether EquuSearch Midwest will come back to the Beach Creek community to East Tennessee to search for Summer Wells is unequivocally, hands down, 100% yes, they will, if they are asked by law enforcement, because that's what they do. That's the kind of group, that's the kind of organization that they are. And I'm honored to be the law enforcement liaison for EquuSearch Midwest. I'm honored that Ed Wallace and I are the law enforcement liaison for EquuSearch Midwest, and that we will do whatever we have to do to help with communication with them and bridging the gap between law enforcement and these great search groups. We support them hands down, wholeheartedly. So I want to say hello to everybody in the chat, and I want to say thank you to Joey Brooklyn, Nick. Again, if you are not, again, if you feel like, law enforcement wants Summer Wells not to be found, you're probably in the wrong place. I'm not for you, and you're not for me. Again, these folks who believe in that are part of the Jagaloon naysayers, and I want nothing to do with anybody that feels that way. So again, mods, you have my permission to completely take out anybody and everybody who is against law enforcement. I know that it's a tough job to do, and they are working up against a lot of obstacles, and the obstacles are the Jagaloons that are there trying to hold them down. So the overwhelming majority of everybody that's here, I know you guys support it. You guys support the men and women in blue who put their lives on the line. It is just so important to do that. So thank you to each and every one of you guys. But again, we see that Tuesday night, we're going to have an unbelievable lineup. We're going to speak about the importance of volunteering and getting trained to volunteer to search for the missing. And how important is that? How important is that for folks and family members? Forget about this case. Summer Wells, we want her. We want her home. We want to bring her home. This is a unique case because her parents give every indicator that they couldn't give a rat's ass about what happened to their daughter. They're more concerned about themselves and where their next drink or next high is going to come from. That to me is despicable, disgusting, and disgraceful. And there's no way to sugarcoat that. I can't sugarcoat it because that's what it is. It's despicable. So, yeah, Kathy, we got to find the boys. That won't stop. But right now, the boys in California City, Sincere and Classic, Orrin and Orson West, we got to have their parents be put in jail. We need them to stay in jail, and we need a guilty verdict at their trial. So that's what we're going to concentrate on. And after that is when we are going to get busy to get down and out and start searching again. And we don't know if they are not still fielding any kind of and all leads in the Orrin and Orson West Sincere and Classic case. So, again, HB says again here, can anybody do it? Can anybody search? Anybody could do whatever they want. But the bottom line is if you want to search the right way, you're going to need to know what to do. You can't just go out and aimlessly search around. We want to have folks that want to volunteer that will know about evidence recovery, know what to do if they have something that appears to be evidence. And we're going to talk about it on Tuesday night. We're going to talk about it on Tuesday night show. Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, Dave Rader, the EquuSearch Midwest director, along with Twyla Cisco, the search coordinator, will be coming on with us on Crime Time with DutyRon. We're also going to have Rocky Pastorino. He searched for Naomi Arian in Fernley, Nevada. And we are also going to have Cassie Carley's sister, Rayanne Carley. She's going to come on live with us and tell us exactly how the community came out and how they all got their training and how they all got instructions on how to search. And it was just hundreds of people that came out and searched, and there was nothing that was getting in the way. I want to just show you a quick clip of the TBI director talking about Summer Wells at a congressional hearing. So I want you guys to see this because I think it's important. I know it's old and some of you have seen it before, but I want you guys to see this because I think it's very important that you hear what TBI had to say in regards to Summer Wells and the search. So let's play this.
Authorities are still searching for a young girl missing out of Hawkins County. Summer Wells disappeared in June 2021. She has since turned 6 years old. This week, search crews began combing through the Beach Creek area around her home. TBI Director David Roush spoke before lawmakers about the case. He says search crews are now using upgraded aviation equipment for surveillance with thermal imaging.
Typically, when we use this asset, we're either hunting for a missing child, a missing adult, or a fugitive. And so what it'll do, it will allow those on the ground to actually be able to see what the airplane sees.
A $74,000 reward is being offered.
So I'm just going to pull it back here because this is the TBI director, and he's talking about drones and fixed wing drone aircraft to search. These are divers that were searching bodies of water. There has been literally thousands and thousands of men and man hours put into the search of Summer Wells. For those of you who are doubting Thomases and, you know, Debbie Downers, there has been tens of thousands of man and woman hours put into searching for Summer Wells. And Don and Candus hasn't come out for 1 ounce of those. Not 1 ounce. Think about it. Elizabeth Meyer, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for that. So let's listen to him talk about this.
Thermal imaging.
Typically, when we use this asset, we're either hunting for a missing child, a missing adult, or a fugitive. And so what it'll do, it will allow those on the ground to actually be able to see what the airplane sees.
A $74,000 reward is being offered for information leading to Summer. Anyone with credible information is.
So there you go. I mean, Twyla Cisco, I believe, can talk at great details, and so can Gene. I've had them both on to talk about drones and how important those searches are with the drones. What he's saying here is valid. They need that technology. They need to have more of that technology. Congress needs to fund them so they can search for little missing children like Summer Wells, like Sincere and Classic, Harmony Montgomery. The list goes on and on and on. So, you know, again, we need to get behind, and instead of pounding them down and trying to, you know, mother F them, we need to support law enforcement. We need to support them because those are the folks, the men and women of law enforcement will be the ones to lead the charge to find Summer Wells. And EquuSearch and great groups like Mark Class from the Class Kids Foundation and so many others will be the ones who will be out there to search and supplement law enforcement, to supplement them. Crime Crazy and Critters on the Farm says EquuSearch and you, DutyRon, are the real heroes behind this case. Much respect. Let me tell you something. I'm going to get myself back on. Thank you so much for that super chat, by the way. EquuSearch are true angels on earth. All of the volunteers, it's not just Dave and Twyla. There's literally hundreds of resources, people all over the United States that they have on their team. And if they need to make a phone call and get somebody, like for me, I begged and pleaded with Bakersfield, California for the police department. I talked to captains, lieutenants, sergeants. I went to all the bosses for Sincere and Classic, and I begged them. I said, please let me have EquuSearch come and search for our boys. And finally, we were able to come to an agreement of having drone searches done. And we did thousands of photographs, thousands and thousands of photographs of area that you can't get to on foot in the middle of the desert, along desert bodies of water in the Kern River. We did thousands and thousands of search photos for Sincere and Classic, and I never once lit a live stream up and talked about it. That was back last summer. But that was all worked out professionally between retired law enforcement professionals and active and groups like EquuSearch. And it was just amazing to see that happen. I was just so thrilled to be able to do that. I wasn't able to go there myself, but we sent a team of drone pilots to search for Sincere and Classic, Orrin and Orson West. Their parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West, are in jail, charged with their murder. As we speak, they're in jail. So Summer Wells, if law enforcement and the FBI, TBI, Hawkins County, if they request EquuSearch Midwest, they will be back with bells and whistles on. Robin, again, my statement is true and valid. And Twyla is here in the chat. If they are able to come back with permission of law enforcement authorities, they're back there. They're back there, and they're back there in a heartbeat. That's how it goes. Listen, again, when we take the oath, when we put our hand up and we take this shield, this is my detective shield, so you guys can see it, New York City detective. So when you take this shield and the oath and you put your hand up to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the laws of your jurisdiction, it's a serious oath. And these men and women that do it, put their lives on the line, they want to find Summer Wells. They want to find the missing. They want to bring the murderers to justice. That's what we do. That's what we do for a living. Some people don't like how we do it, but we do whatever we have to do to bring justice, to bring evil, to hunt evil, and bring them to justice. The long arm of the law. It doesn't get done by acting like a jagaloon. I should kind of like embed this at the bottom of my stream when I do lives like this. Thank you for sending this to me, Matt Sully. It's funny. This Jagaloon Lane sign I've had this for about 5 years. So this has got nothing to do with the Summer Wells and the buffoonery that's going on. It's just fitting for the time. I've had this for 5 years. Again, I just busted it out because of the way that people are acting in the Summer Wells case. Heather, whatever, thank you so much for being a channel member. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. So again, in the chat, I know that everyone is up and down. Wait a minute. Nick says, you're a sharp dresser, DutyRon. Miss DutyRon is doing a great job. Well, let me tell you something. If it wasn't for Mrs. DutyRon, I would look like a hobo. That's for sure. So you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. So let's move on and look at the chat here quickly. I just want to say hello to everybody and say thank you for being here. I just want to pull up another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Here's an article, and I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to spare you the video. Okay, it's entitled. It's titled Summer Wells family no longer cooperating with investigators. Now, who by a show of hands here knows or is up to date on this case and heard the coverage that Candus and Don Wells are now no longer cooperating? Ronnie Lawson, the sheriff of Hawkins County, came on, he went on TV and he said, basically, Summer Wells' parents, the family, are no longer cooperating with the local authorities. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, when he was asked about the family, said they are no longer cooperating right now. They both have attorneys. Regarding the area being searched, this is back in the day, they're searching terrain that looks like the Smoky Mountains. And he was going on to talk about the terrain that's being searched. But that's a clear indicator of, you see the behavior. You see the behavior of the two of these, the mom and dad. you see the behavior of Don and Candus, and you say to yourselves, this doesn't surprise me. Why would they cooperate? They're a bit more busy having a social life and caring about other people than their own daughter. They're caring about complete strangers and about how they feel and how they are acting. And they're not concerned about their own child. So why would an article and a story from Ronnie Lawson get everybody upset that they're no longer cooperating when you could watch them nightly? You could watch Candus nightly on YouTube, on Facebook, or wherever the hell she goes. But I know predominantly on YouTube. And you could watch them talk about everything but, I miss my daughter. I want my daughter back. Where is my daughter? There is none of that. And by a show of hands, who here feels that that is bizarre? I mean, it's bizarre to the highest degree. But it's not going to stop folks like law enforcement and EquuSearch. It's not going to stop them because they don't care about Don and Candus. They care about the missing. They want to bring her home. And you hear that. And you hear those conversations. I had to do this live so you guys have an understanding that this fuckery that's going on and this bullshit, the nightly white noise that's being put up, people crying on videos and arguing and fighting, that has nothing to do, zero, to help Summer Wells. That, in fact, hurts her. Because law enforcement shuts people down from the outside, like EquuSearch. They'll shut a good group down because of this fuckery that goes on. And that's the sad part. White Widow Baby sends in a $20 super chat and says, let's get Summer the justice she deserves. Amen. Thank you, DutyRon and EquuSearch, for everything you do. Amen to that. EquuSearch, unbelievable group. I'm honored and proud to be a part of EquuSearch. Yeah, I mean, everybody's sick of it. And for the people who support it and the people who encourage it, shame on you. It's disgraceful. I don't want to be friends with anybody like that. If you have anything or hand in to encourage Candus and the nonsense that goes on, just unsubscribe to my channel. I don't want to be friends with anybody that's involved in that. As a matter of fact, I block most people who engage in that shit. So when I get angry, I curse. So you guys are seeing me when I get a little fired up. I curse. It's part of my New York thing. Emily, good to see you. You know, they never cooperated. They never cooperated. So again, Moonlight View, HB, thank you. I will go back and look at the chat. This one, I'm going to go back and look at the chat. Dawn Marie, I encourage you to go back and look at the chat if you have the time. And just do me a favor and take out everyone and anyone who's against law enforcement. And that's how I feel. You know, again, I'm not for everybody and everyone's not for me. And I will say this, if you do not support and get behind the charge of the people who are ultimately responsible for bringing justice, then I can't be friends with you. I just can't. Sorry. There's a lot of good people out here, and there's a lot of great people who support the fine men and women of law enforcement, and those are the people who I want in my corner. That's who I want in my circle. So hold on a second. I have a live phone call coming in from the illustrious Ed Wallace. So I'm going to answer it live on the air. But Ed, you're not on. What's up, Ed? I'm sending Ed Wallace the link. He wants on. Ed wants in. He wants to. He's chomping at the bit. All right, I'll send it to you now. All right, Ed Wallace is coming. We got Ed Wallace coming. Let me show you a little bit more media while we wait for Ed Wallace. Here's the search from December of 2021. I'll play this for you guys while we're waiting for Ed. Stand by. Hold on, folks.
Founder This morning, so many are hoping for good news, but it's unclear this morning what, if anything, crews found during a renewed search effort for Summer Wells. News Channel 5's Nick Barris is in the 5 Alert Center. And Nick, you followed this story so closely, and authorities have been really tight-lipped about what was happening yesterday.
They have, of course, taking this very seriously, working very hard at it, but no word this morning on whether or not anything of substance was found during yesterday's search effort. But what we do know is that search will continue, probably getting underway just as we're speaking right now over there in East Tennessee this morning. Crews were out yesterday for the first time.
Just so you know, this is from December of 2021. By the way, this is when they said that they wanted to search when the tree cover was down. Remember this in December around Christmas time. They wanted to search when all of the foliage was off the trees, so they have a better view of the landscape. Does everybody remember that? That's what this is from. And Nick from the Tennessee, I believe he's a Nashville affiliate. Nick Barris is a great reporter, and I know I'm not saying his name right, but he has been on this case from day one, and he's phenomenal. Nick is tremendous. I really love the guy. I actually reached out to him. I wanted him to come on with me, and he was just too busy. He did respond to me, but I'm going to try to get Nick on with us and talk about Summer Wells. So I'm going to do my best to get Nick to come and speak, because he's been covering this very closely.
This very seriously, working very hard at it, but no word this morning on whether or not anything of substance was found during yesterday's search effort. But what we do know is that search will continue, probably getting underway just as we're speaking right now over there in East Tennessee this morning. Crews were out yesterday for the first time in months, searching the heavily wooded area around Summer's home in the Beech Creek area. Now, you'll remember initially police considered the possibility Summer had just wandered away from her home this past June, and perhaps something had happened to her in the woods. Since then, again, they've considered the possibility that she was abducted as well, or met with foul play. But dozens of officers on foot do plan to be back out there today to continue with what is essentially a grid search, hoping to find any trace of the child. But again, Amy, at this point, no indication from authorities whether or not anything.
No, again, I want to reiterate that this is one of numerous searches, but this was in late November, early December. These searches are not going to ever be over. The law enforcement supervisors have said that they will not stop until they find Summer Wells. And you know what? I believe them. I believe that they will work this case. We're talking about a little child here. They're going to work this case until they get clarity, until they find out what happened. And Jen Lowe, you said it great. Lost is not alone. Let's put some prayer emojis and some hearts in the chat for Summer Wells. And I'm hoping and praying every day that she's found. I'm hoping and praying every day for a break in this case. Let's let the rest of this go.
Was found.
But what sparked crews to start searching again? Did they get some new information?
No, the way we understand it, there were no new leads, but you'll have to recall that when she did disappear this past summer, that was the search effort in June and July, when there was some heavy overgrowth in the wooded area where the home is. But now with the change of season, it's all died down. The landscape and terrain more clear, visible. They're going back in there to see if anything was missed, or if anything maybe now is revealed, as much of that vegetation has gone away. Keep in mind, authorities continue to take tips. You can call the TBI.
I'll link the tip line down below in the description. But as you know, we covered this as this was going on. I was on it. We covered it. I had Dave Rader and Twyla Cisco come in with us. All right. Joining me live from some type of outdoor location. I never know where this guy is. It's Ed Wallace, our crime scene investigator. Hey, before I bring Ed on, Ed Wallace Jr., 15 years in the crime scene unit in the NYPD, investigated close to 3,000 crime scenes. This is an old one. He's going to update it. He's going to correct me. He said 2,656 crime scenes. I know it's closer to 3,000. President of Finest Forensic Consulting. Here he is, Ed Wallace, ladies and gentlemen. I got to add him. Bang. There he is. Hey, Ed.
Hey, good afternoon, folks. Good afternoon, Ron.
Hey, how's it going? Can you disclose where you are? I see a white fence. Is that a penitentiary? Where are you?
Yeah. I'm in my backyard in Staten Island.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. That is far from a penitentiary. That's a beautiful paradise right there.
Uh-huh.
Ed, Summer Wells, we spoke about this numerous times. Tuesday night, we're going to have, Dave Rader, Twyla Cisco, Rocky Pastorino, and Rayanne Cassie Carley's sister, to talk about the importance of the searchers. You've seen the buffoonery that's going on, and YouTubers and online folks just jumping all over this Summer Wells and making a mockery of it. How much does that help the searching and law enforcement, or how much does it hinder? I know you spoke outright about this many times.
Well, like anything in life, you have the good and you have the bad, and unfortunately, there's too much bad on this online sleuthing. Okay, and it's negatively impacting in many areas. But there's always that small. Unfortunately, it's a small percentage, like EquuSearch and so forth, that have their act together, know what they're doing, and work coordinated with law enforcement, and don't hinder the investigation.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Again, we're going to go over with Dave Rader some of the things that were done in the beginning when he was there, day 3, day 4, I think it was, of the search for Summer Wells. So she was reported June 15th of 2021. I think Dave and his team were down there on like the 18th or so, give or take some days. So from the 15th to the 18th or 19th, they came, and dogs were all over that property. Dogs, drone searching, ground searching was heavy. And folks on ATVs and all kinds of all-terrain vehicles were involved, and there was a consortium. The effort was organized and broken up into sectors. So, could they have moved her remains in the meantime? Hell yeah! I mean, anybody could move anybody at any time, and we're talking about something that's the size of not a full human body. It's a 5-year-old girl. So I think the search coordinator, Tim Coop, said that it was the size of 2 manila folders, Summer Wells. So that's what we're looking at here. And we're looking to just, find her remains and bring her home. Folks stand up and down on their platforms and speak about this and that. The only people who are going to help her are people who are really concentrating on searching for her, and searching for her in a professional way, where it's just not, going from here to there. Talk about how important it is to have those search grids all on paper and know, okay, we were here, and we need to go back maybe and do a double check, but more ground covered is more places where she's not. So that's the important part.
No, it absolutely is. Anytime you're doing a search, you have to grid out the search location, and you have to document the date and time you searched, how many people were there, who the people were. Everybody needs to be credentialed. They have to be given in the field training if they're not already trained professionally. Law enforcement needs to be involved. They need to be coordinating and overseeing the entire operation. And you never search one area once. You do multiple searches in that area, so you overlap your searches. You'll go in one direction first, and then you'll do a 90-degree turn, and you'll hit that same area a second time, just in case somebody missed something. And then you grid that off. You mark, okay, on this date and time, this amount of searches, search this area, and then you move on to the next grid and you search that. I've done this numerous times, whether it was a 93 World Trade Center, 9/11 World Trade Center attack, or various, body searches, excavations that we worked on. It's the same principle, whether I'm working inside of a freshly poured concrete floor in a garage, and now I have to break this up and grid and look for somebody that was potentially buried underneath it, or I'm out in the middle of the woods looking for a clandestine grave.
There you got it. I mean, Ed, you know this better than anybody, and the bottom line is that they're saying that they have 60 acres, they got whatever, 90 acres, whatever the case may be. When you are searching by drone, the drone technology of today is so advanced And I know you know about drone searching, and I know that you have, on numerous occasions, taken your own drone out and put it out on display. But we did speak to Gene Robinson from the search. He has his own drone company, but he is contracted as well by EquuSearch Midwest. And Gene Robinson has told us that he can find a tiny speck of clothing from up in the air. I mean, Ed, I don't know how well you could speak about that, but thanks for moving out of the wind.
That's the software he uses. So once he gets the drone up, he sends the drone up, and he's got a designated search pattern for the drone. Again, and that gets mapped as well. So we know exactly the coordinates, land, lat, and elevation above sea, that drone is traversing, and that whole pattern is then documented. And then what he does is recording all of that, and then he puts that recording into his software and says, okay, I'm looking for this color, or I'm looking for this. I mean, that's a software that he has that allows that. But there are other drones that have
locate? Is that called locate?
Locate, yes, locate. And I think that's his proprietary software. I believe that he invented that, if I'm not mistaken, and he developed it.
Yep.
Okay. Now there's other drones that have what's called LiDAR. Now LiDAR is 3D imaging mapping. Okay, and that could be used to search for anomalies in the soil, such as clandestine graves. It can do topographical mapping. It can penetrate through treetop canopies and get to the bottom and see what's going on underneath the canopy. It's been used in many archaeological digs and historical digs, such as they found a World War II artillery site in the Ardennes, a part of the Battle of the Bulge that was associated with a historically all-black artillery unit. And years later, after World War II, they using this technology, they actually found the gun emplacement sites. Wow. Using that technology. I mean, this is state-of-the-art, great stuff.
And that's available to us through EquuSearch. And as soon as they give the okay for them to go back there, Twyla and the crew will be back on the ground. I know that for a fact. Joining us live right now is Twyla Cisco, the search coordinator for EquuSearch. Twyla, thank you for taking out the time. Again, this is number 2 for today. You were on with the members only with us before, and thank you for joining, Twyla.
Yes, I couldn't help myself. I actually sent you a picture in a text just a minute ago of something that Locate did pick up when I was running images yesterday. And when you see it, you can put it on the screen. It's not in Hawkins County. It has nothing to do with Summer or any particular case. It was just me running images. And if you could show them, it'll show how small something can be with Locate for us to be able to pick it up. It's pretty amazing. It was a piece. I was looking for the color blue, and in the little street signs that are green, they have this little reflection that sometimes can be blue, and it actually picked that up when I was running the images yesterday. You can see that
little lower. There you go.
All we need is an inch of something the size of $50 with the color that we're looking for.
I'm going to download it. I'm going to download it onto my computer, and then I could show it on the screen, because I think that was tough to see. But I see it here. It's just unbelievable. And how high up was that drone? It was just maybe 1,000 feet up?
No, actually, I think on that particular image, he was probably about 200 feet in the air. I ran some images last week, and the captain that did those was 400 feet up in the air. It's best to fly at 150 or 200, because the farther up you go, the colors start fading. But I'm going to tell you what, I've been running images on Locate, and it's some of the coolest stuff that I have ever seen in my entire life. And what I'll do, Ron, is I'll make a short video of me running some images, and give you some pictures to show on Tuesday while we're on there. I would do it today, but I have a bunch of craziness going on, as you know. But I'll do that, and I'll send it over for you to download and play for them, so they can actually see a small part of the process that we do with locate.
Okay, that'll be great. I mean, I think most of the audience would love to hear and see this technology. And this is telling me that we need to do a pinpoint live stream dedicated solely to this locate. And we'll have Gene join us, yourself and Ed and I, and we'll do this. Hopefully sooner than later, we'll get a thing going so people can understand the technology and how much it's used. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, maybe we can bring in the our friend Ryan with the 3D laser scanner.
Oh yeah. You just reminded me. We got to get back with him. So we have a ton of resources that we can talk to about this technology and have professionals come on. Ed's got a good friend of his, Ryan, who is got a program, right? Did he start that program himself?
No, it's Leica scan. It started a Leica 3D laser scanner. Leica is one of the oldest camera and lens manufacturers in the world, and their engineers developed 3D laser scanning that is sub-millimeter accurate, and it's used in architecture, engineering, and survey. It's used to build dams, roads, bridges, high rises. We use it in crime scene investigations. If anybody's ever seen Crime Scene 360, it was highlighted in some of those shows, and it's used to make 3D generated models of the crime scenes, both digital and physical, if you have a 3D laser printer.
Wow. Fascinating. We're definitely going to get him on. I remember it was before both of us came down with COVID. Remember, we had him all scheduled. Yeah. He was going to come on. We were going to do this show somewhere in December, and everything just went downhill from there. It was almost like Twyla with her freezer today. Her freezer crapped
crazy.
Out, lost all. Twyla, I wanted to ask you quickly because I don't want to give away the shop for the show. Again, EquuSearch Midwest gets the call from TBI or the FBI or Hawkins County Sheriffs, and they say, hey, could you guys come out and assist us for a search in the area? What's the answer?
Absolutely, and we will be on our way. Just give us enough time to travel. I mean, Dave, as well as myself, Dave keeps an extra bag of search everything in his truck, and I keep stuff in my car. And when they call us, for me, all I have to do is get my kids squared away with the sitter, and we're on our way. And Mr. Pruitt, without a doubt, I know without a doubt that he will call me. Me and him are still in contact with each other. We get tips. Sometimes some of the craziest things that you'll hear that comes in, and I send them directly over to Mr. Pruitt, and we talk frequently, and he knows that all he has to do is pick up his phone and call us, and we'll be there. And the same thing with the TBI. The TBI agent, I communicate with him, and he knows without a doubt that we'll be there in just enough time to give us the travel. That's all the time that we need.
Well, that's encouraging news for a lot of the people to hear this because, again, there'll be people that watch this replay that might not be here live. They need to hear that there is still an open line of communication and the bond and the relationship that EquuSearch has with law enforcement is strong. And the reason it's strong is the reason it's strong, Twyla, is because you guys don't act like fools. You guys are professional. You guys do your jobs, and you keep everything that you are supposed to keep close to the vest, and you are an extension and a helping hand to law enforcement, and it's important. Ed, you want to talk about how important that is for small departments?
DutyRon, I'm sorry to cut you off. I got a call from a missing family member that I need to take like right now, so I'll touch back with y'all shortly.
Thank you, Twyla. That was Twyla. There she goes. Ed, how important is that for smaller departments to have resources outside that they can rely on?
Yeah, it's huge. You can't quantify it because, like I saw the clip that you sent, and that detective was obviously very angry at certain groups of YouTubers and online sleuths. But don't paint with a broad brush, because then you have you have these groups like Equifax that is there to work with them, that are professionally trained and do a great job at what they do, and can be trusted to be a force multiplier to a tiny law enforcement agency that may not have the manpower to conduct extensive searches. Now, I understand it in smaller jurisdictions, they'll enact mutual aid agreements. They'll get the surrounding law enforcement agencies. Hell, sometimes they'll even dump an academy class that's not finished with the academy and send those recruits out there to assist searching. And then they'll go up to the state and ask state assets. And sometimes they'll even go to the National Guard and ask for the Guard to come out and assist.
Yeah.
This is just another group that, you know, they're volunteers, so don't knock the volunteers, but they're professionally trained and they've done this time and time again, and the results speak for themselves.
Absolutely, 100%. Nikki, thank you so much for becoming a channel member, and thank you to everyone. Guys, if you're not yet subscribed to Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, please consider right now giving this a thumbs up, the video. Make sure you subscribe to this community so when we go live with professionals like Ed Wallace and myself, Dave Rader, Twyla Cisco, Gene Robinson, and the list goes on and on. We've had Mark Class from the Class Kids Foundation. If you want to have everything from a law enforcement perspective, from a detective's perspective, this is the place for you. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all one word, DutyRon. And yes, we do upload some of our important educational videos onto TikTok as well. Ed, do you have sunscreen on, Ed?
I do not.
You're killing me. Either get a hat on or get some sunscreen. You don't want 12 stitches in your head because, God forbid, you get the big C. You don't want that. You don't want it.
Yeah, I didn't expect to be out there this long.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. We're going to wrap it up. But listen, Tuesday night, we're going to continue this conversation about searches and the Cassie Carley, Naomi Arion, and we're going to add into the mix the Summer Wells case. We're going to have Dave Rader and Twyla Cisco, and I'm going to ask Gene Robinson from SAR's Drones Search and Rescue. I'm going to have I think he definitely should come on with us to explain to some of the folks some of the technology that's in his toolbox. It's just fascinating. And Ed, thank you for touching on it. And I want to get you out of the sun, so that's why I'm rushing to get you out of here.
I could move my position, but yeah. So I was at a luncheon with my family. We did a dim sum luncheon, and I love dim sum. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's actually in Chinese. The actual name is yam cha, which means in Cantonese tea. It's like a brunch, if you will. And it's delicious, honestly. Oh, I can't get enough of it.
I gotta try it. I never tried it. I've heard of it, but I just never had it. So you're gonna have to introduce me to some of that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. We'll take you out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Some of the folks are saying a couple of things. I want to listen. There's 1,000 people here, so I want to get to the chat. Some folks have some questions. Somebody said, could they have moved her out of state by now? And I know Ed and I are going to answer. Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Right. But as you saw, that detective said he feels that she is nearby.
Yeah. And Dave Rader, who is a professional at searching, has said the same thing. Dave said to us, chances of her being close by is very high. So I think Don and Candus, they're feeling the heat. They are resorting to, well, she is resorting to drugs and alcohol on a regular basis. And we see it nightly over and over again. We see it nightly over and over again. It's just utter buffoonery that's going on. But anyways, I want to say thank you to all of the replay viewers, all of the channel members, and the folks who positively engage in all these community live streams that we do. You guys are what makes this a great place. Any questions, comments, or concerns, leave us questions down below in the chat. Ed is outside, so I muted him because of a little bit of the wind. But leave us comments down below, because what we do is we scan the comment section and we answer back most of the comments. And yes, Don is still in jail. And I saw someone say, did we lose Summer Wells? Is she gone? Have they found her? We have not found her, but we have to assume at this point, going up on 10 months here, going into month 12 in June, it'll be a year. that the chances of her being found alive are slim to none at this time. Ed, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, from historical aspect and the statistics will show that typically the longer you go out, the less likely it is that she's alive. But there have been those one or two rare cases where of abductions and people being risen by their abductors and then later get out of the escape, and you always have hope. You always have hope until you find remains. You always have hope.
Yeah, that's what you hold on to, the slither of hope that a miracle could happen. We always pray for that, and that's why we pray.
Yeah, that's the way it was down at Ground Zero. Even though in our hearts, we always have that sliver of hope that we're looking to rescue somebody or find somebody still alive. But it became apparent if you didn't get out in the first couple of hours, you didn't make it out.
Yeah, I agree. The Joy Catcher is here. Lucretia, she says, thank you so much, Ron, guests, mods, and chat. I know she means you as well, Ed. Stay safe and healthy. Count your blessings. Amen to that, Lucretia. Give your brother a big hug. I know you have a big family, but you know who I'm referring to. Give your brother a big hug from me and tell him DutyRon says hi. Everyone's saying thank you, and there's a bunch of accolades coming. Rose, I hope you're feeling better from your surgery. I know that you are having a hard time, and I know that you're battling a lot of health conditions. I hope you feel better. DutyRon, Stephanie says, DutyRon, creators are trying to find the boys. I informed Pruitt. Anyways, okay. I'm trying to find the boy. You mean, her other children, the boys? Yeah, that's ridiculous. If they're doing that, that's criminal. They should just stay the F away from that. That's not anything that anybody should be starting to do. That's criminal activity right there. So again, I will wrap it up here by saying, subscribe to this community, subscribe to Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed. We're going to be live Tuesday. I'm going to be live also Wednesday with a retired Queens County, New York prosecutor. We're going to cover the Gall case, and we're also going to talk about Barry Morphew. So there's going to be Tuesday and a Wednesday live. That'll be our 2 days for this week. Hopefully Ed can join us from Boston. He's going to be in. What are you doing in Boston, Ed? Are you going to go catch any games? Are you going to catch any baseball games or anything?
Oh, no. I'm going to be training up the Boston PD.
Ed is going to be training Boston Police Department. And can we ask what type of training, or is it Army training?
It's not Army training, sir. No, it's we're going to be training their crime scene investigators to prepare to investigate a terrorist attack involving weapons of mass destruction. Okay. Wow. That's some serious stuff. I'd like to talk to you maybe on a live about that one day in the future, because that sounds fascinating. I think a lot of our listeners would be interested in that. So Ed's going to be training the Boston Police Department on weapons of mass destruction, and fascinating. So thank you, Ed. Guys, as I always like to end these, God bless the world, God bless the United States of America, and God bless each and every one of us here in the chat, but especially all victims of crime and their family. Summer Wells, she needs us now more than ever. We send prayers, strength, and positive vibes to the searchers, law enforcement side, people searching, groups like EquuSearch Midwest, and all who are affected by the loss and the missing out there. Red, White, and Bethune, there's Jen and Kyle. Wow. She just snuck in a $50 super chat to us. Thank you, DutyRon, for all you do. We love you. Jen and Kyle from Red, White, and Bethune, instrumental in the Gabby Petito case. We all know and love them. Driving around in that bus, that 1983 Silver Eagle bus, 40 feet to be exact. 40 feet of fun. Thank you, Jen and Kyle. Our heroes. Yes, they are all American heroes. They never take credit for it. They'll always say, stop it. She'll say to you, oh, gnarly. No, she won't say that. She will say, oh, hell no. Yeah, but hey, Ron, I got one thing to say. What? Okay, folks, remember the other day when we did the live with Barbara Butcher, after Barbara left, we were asked a question about vitreous fluids and toxicology, and I was unsure of the answer, and I didn't want to give you bad information, So I didn't answer it at the time, but I posted the correct answer on the YouTube channel chat for that show. So you can go look it up about the vitreous humor or vitreous fluids and toxicology.
Thank you for that, Ed. Ed is always following up because he is a teacher. He teaches folks about stuff, crime related.
Yeah, and I'll never make up an answer. If I don't know what it is, I'll tell you I don't know what it is, but I'll get the answer for you.
Because Ed is not a jagaloon.
A jagaloon.
He is the real deal. Thank you, Ed. All right, guys. Again, we're going to say good day from New York City. Ed is in Staten Island. I'm here in Long Island. We're on islands, both of us. Great to see everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe, share the video, and leave us a comment down below. Peace and love from DutyRon. Have a great week. We'll see you Tuesday night, 9 p.m.
Stay safe, folks. Stay prepared. Watch your six.
Bingo. Thank you, Ed. See you all soon. Peace.